Hello, well, let's talk about some of the attributes, both positive and negatives, of some of the major Nikon cameras, including some of those that I don't have on the table before you. Obviously, I just made a few days ago a video review on the top Nikon models as best value in their relative price category. Now we need to talk about what it is aside of value. Obviously, price is always important as far as what it is you're looking for. Now, appearances can be deceiving. Obviously, the most expensive may not necessarily be that what you're looking for. I mean, you may be a street photographer, you might be a night crawler, just like the name of that video, Night Crawler, but that's what they actually used to call paparazzis and street photographers at night, call them night crawlers. Let's first take a look at a really simple analogy. It's a fellow I've met a few times. I'm a concealed carry instructor myself, and his name is Jerry Miculek, and he's got quite a atrocious beer belly on him, which is certainly no surprise to anybody that's ever met the guy. And you would never think that this fat old guy would, you would never win any marathon or come even close to it, but he's the fastest person in the world. Well, what do you mean he's fastest person in the world? I mean, he's got a huge beer belly on him, and he'd probably huff and puff if you asked him to run 100 yards, so let's see where the old boy excels.
Record using a stripped-down Smith & Wesson revolver. Firing 12 shots on a target with a single reload in just
he shoots 12 shots out of a revolver. So, anyway, that fat old boy, Jerry Miculek, is the fastest person in the world. He'll shoot 6 shots out of a revolver, not an automatic, but a revolver. Open up the cylinder, swing gate out the brass, drop in 6 more rounds, close the cylinder back into the revolver, and fire 6 more shots. By the way, all of them hitting the target. All that underneath 3 seconds. The point. That fat guy's the fastest person in the world. If you actually were to call him fat ass, he'd probably kill you 12 times before the words left your lips of the lips of your mouth. But the point of this analogy is, just because it's the most expensive Nikon, it may not be exactly what it is you're looking for. Let's talk about some of the positive and negative attributes. Let's start over here with the D7100 versus the D7200. D7200 just came out. Now, while the D7100 obviously is the best value, going right now between roughly about $650 minty used or factory refurb $700. It looks same as new. Why would you necessarily maybe want a D7200 over the 7100? D7200 has a bigger buffer, and it also performs better at low light, high ISO. Now the 7100 performs better at lower ISO, and it performs better in shadow detail. Overall, the 7100 is an excellent value, but forgetting about price, but you never forget about price, of course, is it the best camera that you want? Taking, for example, the old D700, which I mentioned endlessly. This camera has no video capability, but some of you people don't care about video. I'm one of them. I do care about video, but I don't give a damn if it's on my camera or not. The D700 produces images unlike any other Nikon. I mean, it's just the easiest way to describe them is creamy and extremely saturated in color and contrast. It just produces images unlike any other Nikon. Maybe that's what you're looking for. Obviously, it's only a 12.1 megapixel camera, but it's built like a tank. It has its own special attributes that no other Nikon has. So, in addition to value and price, we have to consider what sort of shooter are you? Are you a portrait shooter? Are you a landscape shooter? Now, the D750, I recently told Chuck Gines. Chuck Gines is asking me about a secondary camera. He loves his D700, but he's a street photographer, and he was asking about the high ISO low light performer, and I said the D750 will shoot the fine details out of a well digger's asshole at the bottom of a cave in the middle of night without a flash, which is pretty accurate. Where does the D750 fail compared to the D810, for example, or the D800? Well, the D750 does have an AA filter, an anti-aliasing filter. And you know, you're not paying $1,000 more for the Nikon D800 for nothing. Does that in any way impact the D750? No. Now, if someone is shooting landscape photography or mostly portrait photography where they don't give a damn about low light shadow detail, you know, everything is set off by perfect lighting. They have perfect control over their lighting. You know, they've got strobes in the studio. They're taking wonderful landscape shots, and they're doing time exposures, and you know, they just, you know, they're not concerned about you know, cranking up a post-production shot, you know, exposing it another 5 stops in post on Lightroom or Photoshop. Additionally, so the D750 has what the D800 and D810 do not have, and that's a faster buffer. Now, if you're a sports, action, street photographer, you know, you're a night crawler, you're shooting clubs, high ISO, low light, you want to crank out that detail. That's not to say that the D750 also isn't a perfect portrait camera, but the D810 will definitely smoke it in studio portraiture, and the D810 will smoke the D750 in landscape because it doesn't have an AA filter, and you're not paying $1,000 more for nothing. I mean, you're talking about a 36 megapixel camera versus a 24, and it also doesn't have an AA filter. But the D750 has a faster buffer. It is a better performer in low light. So in addition to best value considerations like, well, I have X amount of money to spend. He said that this is the best camera in that prior video for that category, therefore that's what I'm going to pick. Well, that's one principle to consider, obviously and logically so, but the secondary attribute of what you must consider logically and necessarily so that you're happy and you don't regret your decision, and that you're not only purchasing the best camera for the value of what it is you have to spend, but also what sort of shooter are you? I mean, are you a landscape shooter? Are you, you know, a portrait shooter? Are you crawling around at night? Doing a lot of street photography, a lot of low light, high ISO? You know, these are points that can trump the price value of the type of camera. It's like, well, I've got X number of dollars to spend. This is the best value in that particular price bracket. Boom, boom, boom. Well, that's one consideration. Secondary consideration is what I've already pointing out to you, and that is which is the best performer in each category. D7100 is an overall awesome performer. Now, where does it fail? And it doesn't fail, really, in relation to the D7200. It is not as good of a high ISO, low light performer, or faster buffer, say for sports, action, indoor, low light, as the D7200. But the D7200 is a lot more money. But if that is what sort of shooter you are, and you're in that price bracket for that DX camera, then the D7200, even at the more expensive price point, is a more logical choice for you because of those specific attributes that it has that the D7100 does not have. Same thing goes for the D700. Talk about $700 here. Basically the same price as the D7100. No video. One compact flash card. It's built like a friggin' tank. It weighs as much as a tank, but it takes shots unlike no other Nikon here. Just creamy and rich is about the only way you could describe it. And you type in Google search, type in D700 image sample, and you'll see what I'm talking about. That might be the specific attributes that you want. I mean, it'll make a 20 by 30 print just beautiful. I mean, if you think a 12.1 megapixel isn't enough to make large prints, then, you know, you're smoking crack, because it certainly is. This camera is heavily clamored after even today, and for very good reasons. People that seen and know the output of this camera, they love it. I'm still looking for the appropriate aperture on the camera to make love to it. That's the coffee talking. Say for example, you're in the market for a D750, and you're a landscape photographer, but you don't want to shut the gray market on the D810 is $2,500, retail is $3,000. Say you want, you're a strictly landscape photographer and you're thinking about spending the $2,000 on the D750. Now, while I'm kind of loathsome to recommend it, if you are a landscape photographer, used D800E might be the more logical choice for you. Now, A, the megapixel size, B, the lack of the anti-aliasing filter, and the fact of what it is in relation to the D750. You don't necessarily need the high buffer. You don't want the anti-aliasing filter, and you don't necessarily need the high ISO, low light performance capacity, which is had in extreme by the D750. So you need to consider price and also what it is, what sort of shooter you are. I mean, if you consider only, well, this is the best camera for this price bracket, this is the best camera, okay, that's fine. Consider also what sort of shooter you are. You may be all sorts of shoot. You might shoot everything, in which case then all you need to consider is the price bracket, but that's hardly the case. Notwithstanding, that is the secondary attribute of what you need to consider before making your purchase, because I would not want anybody to strictly go off the prior video of this is the best camera for this category, blah blah, here we go, 2000 rod bracket, here's here. You know, you have, what sort of shooter are you? Please consider that. Many people told me and asked me to post this video, so I don't want it to seem like a rehash of the prior video, although it partially seems that way. But this is incredibly important in making your purchase on a camera. Just like my analogy at the beginning of the video there where I showed you old fat Jerry Miculek. No one's going to expect that boy to run a marathon, but he's the fastest person in the world. 12 shots out of a revolver, 6 shots, empty, reload, and another 6 shots, all in under 3 seconds. I mean, I dare you to even come 1/1000th as close as that. Trust me, that is beyond hard. It's just asinine unbelievable. When you tell people that that are shooters, they just don't believe it until they actually see it. But it's a Guinness record, and it's been proven many times, and you know, that's what he is. That's his special attribute, and analogously so, each one of these cameras have their own special attributes, regardless of what they are in their own specific price bracket as so far as value alone is concerned. So, thanks for watching. If you like this video, drop me a buck or two. Go tell me to jump off a cliff. Yada yada yada. I gotta get back to the website and make another video or two. I'm not getting enough sleep. I'm gonna go eat some more Scottish shortbread cookies, which my fat ass should not be eating. And I'll catch you later. Bye.